Hi everyone and welcome back to this tutorial. As you remember on our last lesson we added some tours to our project. On this video we will add a couple more elements and also we will work with some light effects and filters to give our image the final touches. First, what we're going to do is to place some trees over here, and for that we're going to use this image right here. So we select it, copy, paste them. We're going to scale it down. Now we're going to rename the layer and move it below the layer of the textures. We're going to erase the part of the tree that's behind building. And now we're going to make just a couple of adjustments. We're going to go to the image menu, click on auto tone as well as auto contrast. Now on the layer menu we go over down to matting the fringe and we pick 2 pixels. Okay. Finally we're going to lower a little bit its opacity and we're going to use a Gaussian blur filter. Next, with a quick selection, we're going to add a white color to the glass panels of the ceiling. So we're going to use the base drawing layer and the one selection tool, also the marquee tool. Now selecting bursts, we go down and we create a layer just below the concrete layer. We name this layer as glass, and we'll use a white color on our paint bucket tool. Just fill it, and now we're just going to play with its opacity till we find a value that we like. We want to be able to see the clouds, but also to make a little difference between the actual background and the background that we see through the glasses. So I think this 50% of opacity will work. Now for this part over here, we're going to use the image of this well. So we select it, copy, and we will look for the underwater layers, group of layers, and just down below this light effects layers, we're going to create a new layer and paste over here the image of our whale. We name it whale, and we're going to scale it and rotate it so it fits our composition. Okay. Again, we're going to make some adjustments using the image menu, so auto tone, auto contrast, and auto color. As well, we're going to lower a little bit its saturation. And Now we're going to use again a Gaussian blur filter to blur a little bit its edges. Also, using our blur tool, we're going to blur some parts of the image, so it gives more the impression that the light that make the image a little bit blur. By blurring these parts of the whale will help give the sense of the water being a little bit murky and not with that crystal clear look. Also, it will help the whale to gain a more 3D perception and depth into the image, so it will end blending better with it. And we're also going to play with its opacity values. Now moving on, we're going to add some burst to the background, and for that we're going to use our brush tool. Well, let us first create the layer, move it to the background folder, name it birds, and we're going to use our brush tool with a black color, and we're going to select one of these birds brushes that we have over here. We change the size of the brush. Okay, and we paint some birds here. Now we change our brush to these birds over here, change its size a little bit bigger, yeah, something like this, and we will paint them over here. And now we just lower its opacity a little bit. Okay. Now, to give a little more depth to our background image, we're going to use a white gradient on the image, but first let's go down and below the underwater group of layers, and we will create here a new layer, name it white gradient. And let's go over here, select our gradient tool, and let's change it from white to transparent, and we're going just to create a regular gradient, starting from the horizon level all the way up. And now we're just going to change its blending mode from normal to soft light, and lower its opacity. As you see with this gradient, the mountains on the back seems to be farther away. Finally, we're just going to add a couple of adjustment layers. So we go up all over these layers, and we're going to start by adding, for example, an exposure adjustment. We're just going to move the gamma parameter a little bit up. Also, let's make a saturation adjustment, lower a little bit the saturation. These are very tiny adjustments that will help the image achieve an impressive look. Also, let's use the black and white filter, and with this we're just gonna change its blending mode to multiply, and we're going to lower the opacity of it. And the last filter I want to add is a photo filter with a yellow color. I choose the yellow color because in general our image is dominated by the blue color, but by adding this yellow color, it balances out the whole colors of the background with the colors inside of the project. And it also helps create this atmosphere of this kind of sunrise look. So here you have it, the final render of the building cross-section. Now you know how to turn a raw sketch into an astonishing detailed drawing. I hope you enjoy following these lessons. Thanks again for watching, and as always, stay tuned for more tutorials.